What if everything you thought you knew about the UFC was suddenly flipped upside down? From surprising fighter predictions to controversial weight class jumps, the MMA world is on fire with unexpected developments. Bold opinions are lighting up social media, beloved champs are changing divisions, and dramatic new policies might just close the door on future double champions. Buckle up, because this is about to get wild. Dustin Poirier has never been one to hold back his thoughts. So, when the announcement surfaced that Michael Chandler would be squaring off against Paddy Pimblett, Dustin wasted no time making his stance public. Fans had already been abuzz with speculation about whether the brash Liverpudlian could survive Chandler's relentless offense, but Poirier's blunt words on social media turned curiosity into a frenzy. He declared that Chandler would run away with the fight and encouraged people to go heavy on the money. It was a bold claim, especially coming from a man who's been in the cage with Chandler himself. That wasn't the only spark fueling the MMA rumor mill. Paddy Pimblett, widely known for his spirited trash talk, had his own reaction to the fight and to Dustin's forecast. Ordinarily, Pimblett might lash out with some colorful remarks, but this time, he sounded almost cordial. Sure, he got a bit testy, calling out other fighters for failing to make weight at their original divisions, but overall, he kept it respectful. He even mentioned that he liked Chandler as a person, but saw him purely as an entertaining opponent. Observers were shocked that Paddy wasn't blowing his usual brash horns. Even so, he exuded confidence that he could handle Chandler's power and come out on top. If there's one thing the MMA world appreciates, it's star power colliding with star power. Pimblett and Chandler fit that mold perfectly. Chandler is known for highlight reel knockouts and a never-ending gas tank, while Pimblett thrives on a massive fan following and an uncanny knack for marketing himself. This collision course is set to become the talk of the town, especially given how both men love the spotlight. It's practically tailor-made for headlining big events, selling out arenas, and dominating social media chatter, but that's only the start of the story.
Very good news. We knew it was coming, but it was taking forever to get done. We got told about it in December, lad, full 2 months ago, 2.5 months ago, so nice for it to finally get done. I think everyone got onto that. Everyone was saying I'm fighting Chandler, apart from all these stupid Twitter pages. Sausages. I like him as a person, yeah, and a fighter. I know he's entertaining and he's a nice person. I remember saying a couple of years, last year or something, I don't think I'll end up fighting Chandler because we get on.
The excitement around Chandler versus Pimblett isn't unfolding in a vacuum. All across the MMA landscape, controversies and clashing opinions are igniting heated debates. One of the biggest talking points lately involves Alex Pereira and Daniel Cormier. DC recently expressed concerns that Pereira might be spending too much time on side ventures instead of focusing on a looming showdown with Magomed Ankalaev. Pereira wasted no time firing back with clips of himself training ferociously, determined to show the world that he's locked in. Fighter retirements, rumored comebacks, and open challenges have further fueled the chaos. You've got champions hinting at moving divisions, contenders up in arms about not getting shots they feel they deserve, and analysts questioning whether certain title holders have lost the spark. Where there's smoke, there's usually fire. And in the world of MMA, the flames are fanned by every tweet, Instagram story, or press conference jab. There's also the endless chatter about up-and-comers looking to dethrone established stars. Breakout athletes love calling out veterans who once seemed untouchable. Fans egg them on, fueling debates over whether the next generation can truly dominate or if they're biting off more than they can chew. Meanwhile, the older guard insists they've still got plenty of fight left and aren't ready to pass the torch. Yet the drama only intensifies when we look at the actual fight cards. Fight cards are in a constant state of flux, and the UFC schedule for the next few months seems to change by the day. Rumors have been swirling about Jon Jones squaring off against Tom Aspinall, quite possibly during International Fight Week in June. Some insiders are convinced this is the perfect time for the UFC to roll out one of its biggest events of the year, historically lining up monster matchups to coincide with the yearly festivities. Jones, fresh off a headline-making win over Stipe Miocic, once stated he had little interest in facing Aspinall. He seemed far more intrigued by bigger names or more lucrative paydays. Tom Aspinall, for his part, has been calling out Jones left and right, believing he has the perfect combination of speed, power, and technique to dethrone the legend. Dana White has reassured fans that this fight is on the agenda and will indeed happen, but official confirmations remain elusive, leading to endless speculation. In parallel, lesser-known but equally hungry athletes are looking to lock in their spots on upcoming cards. Canada's Mike Malott is set to face Charles Radtke at UFC 315 in Montreal. Meanwhile, mainstays like Neil Magny and other longtime welterweights watch carefully to see if a victory by these newcomers can shake up the divisional rankings. And with new events rumored to land in Mexico City, as well as the usual run of Apex Center events, the UFC machine never slows down. Fight fans must constantly refresh their feeds because confirmations, withdrawals, and last-minute replacements are practically the norm. But there's one wave of breaking news that dwarfs all the rest.
But he said again tonight he expects Jones versus Aspinall to happen sometime later this year. Now, depending on when that fight happens, we don't know yet. My guess, and this is just a guess, I think that's going to headline International Fight Week. So I think we will see that in Las Vegas on June, whatever the date in the last week of June.
The UFC has also signaled a strict new approach regarding dual titles. According to Brazilian contender Diego Lopes, the promotion is saying if you move up or down from your division while holding a belt, be prepared to vacate. They are effectively ending the era where fighters like Daniel Cormier, Amanda Nunes, and Henry Cejudo could hold two belts simultaneously. This new policy suggests that the UFC might have grown tired of scheduling logjams, vacant interim titles, and never-ending calls for super fights that push divisional contenders to the sidelines. The aftershocks of these changes set up a new dynamic: fewer champ-champ dream fights, more brand new storylines. With all these weight class movements and fresh matchups, the contrasting styles of top contenders are under the microscope. If Jon Jones does face Tom Aspinall, it'll be a clash between a seasoned, methodical champion who dissects opponents with precise grappling and a younger heavyweight known for his speed, footwork, and knockout power. Jones likes to play the long game, wearing opponents down with oblique kicks and constant feints, while Aspinall has displayed bursts of explosive finishing ability. Down at lightweight, Ilia Topuria's in-cage style might either surprise or disappoint fans, depending on how well he adapts. He has shown sharp boxing, devastating bodywork, and powerful takedowns at featherweight, but carrying that success into a heavier, stronger division is no simple task. If he finds himself face-to-face with wrestlers who can match his power and overshadow him physically, his usual game plan might require a complete overhaul. And let's not forget the showdown between Michael Chandler and Paddy Pimblett. Chandler's high-intensity approach, shooting double-leg takedowns, throwing looping power shots, and never giving an inch, could put Pimblett's defensive skills under the harshest spotlight. Pimblett, a slick grappler with an underrated submission game, might surprise people if the fight hits the mat. Yet to achieve that, he has to avoid Chandler's bombs on the feet. The curiosity doesn't end there, because behind-the-scenes training camp intel often gives us the biggest clues about game plans.
It's just it was always meant to be, wasn't it? Everyone knew that I was going to end up eventually being here, so it wasn't a question of if I was going to be in the UFC, it was when, and the time's finally arrived, lad. I'm here, and I'm here to make a statement, lad, and to let everyone know the boy is.
Insider whispers suggest that some fighters are making dramatic shifts in their practice routines. Alex Pereira, for instance, has been spotted drilling chain wrestling more intensely than ever before, presumably to handle the relentless style of someone like Magomed Ankalaev. Early glimpses from his training camp also reveal an emphasis on cardio, presumably in response to critics like Daniel Cormier, who questioned whether Pereira was devoting enough time to honing his craft. Elsewhere, rumors swirl that Tom Aspinall has hired new sparring partners to replicate the awkward angles Jon Jones likes to use. This strategic move underscores how seriously he's taking the possible matchup. Word on the street is that his camp features multiple southpaws and lanky wrestlers who mimic Jones's reach and stance, aiming to get Aspinall comfortable with the champion's tricky arsenal. And then there are the emotional battles that never make it to the official countdown shows. Some fighters are changing management, sponsors, or entire coaching staffs. Shifts like these can either rejuvenate a fading star or destabilize a rising prospect. Fans rarely see this kind of upheaval until it's too late, until a fighter steps into the cage and looks like a completely different athlete, for better or worse. But training camps are just one piece of the puzzle. Fan reactions can often shift a fight's narrative in unexpected ways.
This is just my dream, you know what I mean? One day I'm going to be UFC heavyweight champion. champion of the world. I always seen it.
In an age where every tweet can spark a mini crisis, it's no surprise that social media is ablaze with hot takes. Dustin Poirier's confident call on the Chandler Pimblett fight has inspired everything from Parlay It Now memes to critics dubbing Poirier a biased ex-opponent. Paddy Pimblett's fans, known for their die-hard loyalty, are convinced that Dustin is underestimating the baddie, while Chandler's supporters see Poirier's words as validation of Chandler's unstoppable approach. Outside the Chandler Pimblett bubble, fans are dissecting Ilia Topuria's move to lightweight, posting side-by-side pictures of him next to massive 155-pounders like Charles Oliveira or Islam Makhachev. Polls ask if the differences in size, power, and height might be too daunting for Topuria. One especially viral clip features Daniel Cormier analyzing the jump, pointing out that some of these lightweights are physically much bigger than Topuria ever was. Fan reactions range from excited optimism about fresh matchups to concerns that Topuria could fade quickly at the heavier division. Meanwhile, watchers of the heavyweight scene split into camps over Tom Aspinall. Some see him as the rightful heir to the throne, fast, young, hungry. Others insist that no one truly challenges Jon Jones's tactical brilliance, especially not someone who lacks the battle-tested experience that Jones has accumulated over a decade-long career. The social media memes almost write themselves, especially as June inches closer and the rumor mill churns. Yet for all these opinions, the real showdown is inside the cage, and sometimes even starfighters can face questions about whether their time has passed.
If you kick my ass in front of the whole world, I'm happy to put my hand out and go, listen, you're the better man. No problem. You took my dreams away from me, but at least I tried. But this ducking and diving is something that I don't really have respect for.
Israel Adesanya's situation is a prime example of how quickly fans can turn. Once hailed as the untouchable force at 185, Izzy now hears whispers that he might be washed. His recent losses to the likes of Sean Strickland, Dricus du Plessis, and Nasruddin Imavov have fueled the doubters. Critics claim he's lost that edge, pointing to mid-30s age and repeated setbacks as evidence. Adesanya, never one to shy away from a good quip, fired back on his YouTube channel. He dropped a line that quickly went viral among MMA faithful. They call me washed, but they haven't even been in the laundry. It was a defiant statement, hinting that critics who've never set foot in the octagon have no right to label him done. Even those who aren't big fans had to appreciate the clever retort. While it's fair to question a fighter's longevity after multiple losses, declaring someone finished can be premature. After all, Adesanya's defeats largely came at the hands of top-tier competition. If there's anything MMA history has shown us, it's that comebacks can happen overnight. One spectacular finish or a revitalized strategy can flip the narrative instantly. Still, there's another narrative building steam, one involving Leon Edwards' next fight and Michael Bisping's warnings.
They call me washed, but how you gonna call me washed when you haven't even been in laundry? Like, you haven't even gotten dirty. What have you done? Ooh, that's bars. I like that. They called me washed, but they ain't even been in the laundry. They ain't even got dirty. Oh, I like that. I'm gonna keep that. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Leon Edwards was supposed to fight Jack Della Maddalena in London. It was a perfect storyline, a top welterweight contender in front of a home crowd, matched against a rising star known for crisp boxing. Then, an injury to Shavkat Rakhmonov turned the entire plan upside down. Suddenly, JDM got redirected to fight Bilal Muhammad for the welterweight crown, and Sean Brady stepped into the slot opposite Edwards. What may seem like a simple replacement is actually a significant shift in style. Maddalena is primarily a striker, known for pinpoint punches and clean stand-up battles. Sean Brady is a grinder, a grappling-oriented fighter with strong wrestling credentials and lethal submissions. Michael Bisping declared this a potential nightmare for Edwards, pointing out that training camp for a striker doesn't necessarily prepare you for the suffocating style of a wrestling technician. Edwards once showcased his takedown defense in high-level fights, but he's also been neutralized on the mat by the likes of Bilal Muhammad. With little time to adjust to a different skill set, Edwards risks facing a grappling onslaught that could throw him off balance and derail any plans for a statement win. British fans remain optimistic that Leon can adapt quickly and recapture the swagger that once had him riding a lengthy win streak, but the shift in opponent is undeniably tricky, and as these individual stories play out, a broader policy change is redefining the future for any fighter dreaming of champ glory.
Jack Della Maddalena versus Leon, that's off. This is kind of a nightmare situation for Leon Edwards. I'm not saying Leon can't beat him, but stylistically and on short notice, This is a very, very different fight and potentially a harder fight than Jack Della Maddalena. Styles make fights. Leon is a sniper on the feet of.
For years, being a double champion was one of the highest accolades a fighter could achieve. The likes of Conor McGregor, Daniel Cormier, Amanda Nunes, and Henry Cejudo set a new precedent, holding 2 belts at once and boasting about conquering multiple divisions. The UFC capitalized on the marketing, fans ate it up, and multi-belt fights became the hottest tickets in town. However, Diego Lopes recently revealed that the UFC has a new rule. If you want to move up or down from your current division while holding a belt, you have to vacate. No more stalling divisions, no more indefinite waits for a champion to defend in 2 weight classes, and no more promotional juggling. Ilia Toporia's vacating of the featherweight belt may be the first of several forced decisions. If Islam Makhachev or Alexander Volkanovski wanted to chase gold in a new division, it seems they'd now have to give up their existing crowns. While some fans lament the loss of epic champ versus champ matchups, others view it as a relief. Interim titles often cause confusion and frustration among contenders stuck in limbo, and the chase for dual belts sometimes overshadowed the fact that each division is loaded with worthy challenges. This new approach might bring more clarity, forcing champions to commit to defending or relinquish the throne so the rest of the division can move forward. But is that good for the sport, or does it deny fans the spectacle they crave?
9-fight win streak. I'm ready for title fight. Please, anyone, doesn't matter. Because this division now little bit sleep. I wanna say one thing. Hey, DC, tell this guy I deserve for top 15. Or I wanna fight with Brock Lesnar.
From Dustin Poirier's explosive predictions on Chandler versus Pimblett to Alex Pereira clapping back at doubts about his commitment, UFC is buzzing with non-stop action and speculation. Major cards approach, with John Jones versus Tom Aspinall as a potential highlight for International Fight Week. Leon Edwards finds himself in a sudden wrestling puzzle against Sean Brady, and Israel Adesanya vows that he's far from washed, no matter what social media says. Amid this chaos, one thing is clear: the UFC machine marches forward, cranking out fresh matchups, unexpected policy changes, and new controversies at a breakneck pace. Fans may never see certain dream bouts if the new no double champion rule sticks around, but that could also open the door for unexpected stars to claim vacant belts. Meanwhile, some of the most intriguing fights might come from the friction these policies create. Imagine a brash contender calling out a former champion who just vacated a title to chase bigger dreams. In a sport where one punch can rewrite a fighter's legacy, nothing stays settled for long. The best way to keep track of everything is to stay locked in, watch every press conference, follow every camp update, and get to know the new names climbing the ranks. Because if there's anything MMA has taught us, it's that the next shocking upset is always just one fight away. Drop your thoughts, join the debate, and if you're as hooked on this wild ride as the rest of us, don't forget to stay tuned for the next round of breaking stories. The cage never sleeps, and neither should your curiosity.